Hi everyone, I'm HaZ Dulull, and welcome to another episode of Books That Inspires Me as a film and game director at HaZimation. Today I'm going to be covering this book here. It's called The Art of Direction by Ron Ashtiani. Right here. Here you go. Take a full screen. There we go. This is a really, really cool book. There's a bit of a story behind this I'm going to share with you right now. So basically, I went to visit my good friend David Sheldon Hicks, who runs an amazing company called Territory Studios in London. And a little bit about Territory Studio, a little plug for them because I love that company. But they do like amazing visuals. They do like motion graphics. They do screen graphics, future user interface stuff, the stuff you see on the computer screens of sci-fi films, as well as just normal movies that isn't genre based. But they also do title sequences as well and visual effects. They've done stuff in Prometheus originally, started from that, and then they went off to do like some of the big Marvel films, Blade Runner 2049, Ex Machina, you name it. Anything that has visual graphics in there, they've done it. Amazing. Check them out, Territory Studios. But anyway, I went to visit David. This was last year, and I was waiting in the reception area of Territory Studios, waiting for him to come out of a meeting to have our coffee catch up. And I was just flicking through, have magazines and books, and there's this book on the coffee table. And I'm like, The Art of Direction. Wow. And I started going through it. And it was just amazing. And then David comes out and goes, you're reading this book. It's awesome. He knows the author. And he's like, you should totally get this book, man. Like, it will blow your mind. And I did. The next day I ordered it on Amazon. And I went through it. And this book really did make a difference for me in my career or my day-to-day job. Because a lot of things in there I relate to. But also a lot of stuff I'm like, that's insightful from an art direction point of view. How do you communicate art direction? There are so many ways to communicate an art direction, from sketching to previs to the way you verbally describe things. And he goes through certain like projects he's worked on as an art director over the decades. This is like really inspirational stuff. I have this on my desk. I'm always at least referencing this at least once a week, just flicking through it. There's some really cool key highlight moments in there that sticks with me today as I do my job. So as a director, as a creative, as an artist, or an artist that is looking to move in the direction, this book is phenomenal. Ron really breaks it all down, and he comes from a personal experience. So let's dive in and take a look at this, shall we? All right, let's have a look at this. Art of Direction. Okay, it's a little forward. And a couple of quotes here from like really cool people. People from Warner Brothers Games, Massive Entertainment, Directors Guild, Rare Limited, Microsoft, some really respected people here, really giving some really cool preface comments. Alright, let's look at the meat of this book. Shift it over here so we can all see. Alright, so we've got era of the artist, what's art direction, art is communication, right here. To speak in the right language. I mean, this is great, and this is what I mean about the way this book is being broken down into different sections. Like, you can just skip to several chapters as opposed to reading it from page 1 to the end. You can just skip to several chapters that relate to you, especially when you're coming back again for references like I do. All right, some more stuff about the author. Oh, this is really cool forward by Gavin Rothery, who's a really cool guy, by the way. Who's directed a really cool movie called Archive. And he also was the co-creator designer of Moon, the really cool Duncan Jones movie. Cool. Introduction of the team. Very cool. That's the guy here, Ron. The book written by. A little history about who he is, which is very cool. Some of the projects he's worked on, which is very cool. I'm sure we reckon. Oh, look, Battalion Wars. I worked on the cinematics for that back in the day. Wow. Kuju Entertainment, which got renamed to Hedgehog Games. So we did this for Nintendo, Battalion Wars. That's very cool. It shows you how much of a small industry this is. Alright, so this is chapter 1, the era of the artists. So stories everywhere in our books and e-readers, on our TV screens, in the cinema, and even the marketing of the brands that we buy. Very cool. So throughout this book review, I'm just going to go through several quotes, which are very, very cool. Already, this one page alone has got so many quotes like this one here. Artists are no longer magical, unapproachable, strange creatures. The mainstream nature of our work has normalized us as individuals. And here's another cool quote. To enable the modern artist to collaborate across borders, disciplines, and platforms means working in teams as normal people to create visual stories. This is already one page. I've got all these amazing inspirational quotes. There we go, $1 trillion business. A little history about the business of art. A little about funding. Michelangelo is one of the first art directors. I like it. This is very cool. Right through to the history there. Age of the Eccentrics. Salvador Dali. Wow. Jason Pollock. Pablo Picasso. Wow. And now we're going to the art of digital artists. So cool. I love all this artwork here. What is art direction? So art directors need to be able to craft a vision and understand the art of visual storytelling. Very cool. Another cool quote here as well, if I bring it closer. So being able to art direct is like being able to conduct an orchestra, many hands and minds working in synchronization. I mean, that isn't just for art direction. This is for directors in general. I mean, that's pretty much what I have to do on a day-to-day basis. So that is a very, very cool reminder of what the job of direction is. Whether you're an art director or any level of directorship, that is essentially what you are doing, communicating. A little description here, what the role of art directors are. Cool artwork. I like all this. I like the process they show here. Some storyboarding, some effects, some of the cover artwork. Upholding the vision. Always starts with a sketch. A couple of stuff he's done for Marvel, which looks awesome. I love this. This is really cool. So this moment here. So you got artist A comes up with a concept, different stages. Then you go to artist B, comes up with one concept, artist C, artist D, and then it all combines into the final thing, combined into stage 3, artist C. Very cool. It just shows you the level of collaboration required to create art. It isn't just a single person. Macro level art direction. Big picture art direction. There we go. I just love this. I mean, there's so much process visually involved as well as thought. Just that all of this was required to get to this cover here. This game here called Project Spark. There it is here. All of this process here. Amazing. Okay, some more quotes here. Art is communication. A picture can communicate a lot more than just the technical specification of the design. It can help explain what a gameplay feature will feel too. So right down here, when a consumer is searching for an item, they see the art first, and this gives them a simple decision point. Does this interest me and is it cool? I mean, that is very, very true. If you think about anything, you know, like if you think back to retro, like the retro game series that I do, where, you know, I review these games that inspire me, you know, it's always, if you look at the cartridges, there's beautiful artwork, because back in the day you had 8-bit 16-bit graphics. That alone wasn't enough to entice people. It was the cover art, and that still is today. Even though today we have some of the best visuals that CPUs and GPUs can process, that looks phenomenal, we still look at the art poster, we still look at artwork to kind of entice us, and that is basically reflecting what Ron is saying here in terms of like, oh, it's communication. It still is the first thing that we always look at when we're buying a product. Moment by moment storytelling. I just love how each frame, even this frame alone, is storytelling. That just reminds me as a filmmaker to, like, when I'm framing my shots, that to frame my shot and compose my shots in a way that tell a story on a frame. I know Ridley Scott does this really well on a lot of his films as well, and Denis Villeneuve does this too, and a lot of great directors do. But like, this is a static image, and already that static image, you tell a lot about the character, the situation they're in, the environment they're in, you know, the tone of this project. It's fantastic. It's all about the story. This is cool. It's another example of how an image can tell a story right here. And from action, more action, to challenges, sports. It doesn't have to be about guns and explosion. I mean, this already looks so dynamic, and it's just, you know, a sport game, I'm assuming, climbing up the ship, or, you know, kayaking. How they make kayaking look so action-packed, right down to the detail. Look at the detail in the background there. This is amazing. This is why I use this as a reference, guys. Communicating to the team. Good chapter there. Moving between 2D and 3D. Cool here. Communication and marketing arts, was essentially posters and game art and film art. Speaking the right language. Style versus theme versus genre. What is the difference? Which is very cool here. Explains it. Some Banksy. This is very cool. This is the importance of style. So let's see what we got here. To make a product stand out, unique art style can help make a product stand out within a genre. Gameplay, stylization allows us to play with forms of exaggeration. Technical execution, age range appeal, product consideration and cost, making abstract concepts more believable. I mean, there's just so much gold in this book. And then we go right down to like realism. And then you got hyper realism, stuff that I love, by the way, hyper realism. That's very cool. Combining stylization and realism, which is what we do a lot in video games as well as animation, by the way, which is very cool. So one way of avoiding that uncanny valley and retaining a high production value is to combine realistic elements with stylized elements. For example, the rendering of materials could be done realistically, but then proportions and form could be stylized. This is pretty much what we did, kind of like in our movie Max Beyond, except we went super hyper stylized because of budget constraints. Very cool. Creative process. Another nice little quote here. The artists are going through an emotional journey, usually with their own internal voice being their harshest critique. I mean, that quote describes every single artist in whatever industry you're in. This is a very cool quote. Here's another good quote here. A good art director needs to have thick skin, to be prepared for changes of direction that alter his decision, to be his or her decision, to be ready to compromise. Don't know what it says. Visitation design for game, can't read stuff. That's really bad. It goes across white there. What else is there? Oh, this is cool. Now I love this. Is one of my favorite parts of the book, by the way. This client inspiration brief, problem idea, strategy creative. This is really cool way of describing the thought process of art direction. So you have the design, you create a prototype, the rough, the sketch, get feedback from the producers, lead colleagues, yourself, director, client, focus group. You then iterate to go back to that, and then iterate, and then go to finalize, where you review, evaluate. Fantastic. I love that. It's all about the process. Then you've got this stuff here, which is breaks it more down in terms of the creative process. Like this is fantastic. I should have this as a t-shirt, man. This is fantastic. This is the creative process. This is awesome. This is tricky. This is shit. I am shit. This might be okay. This is awesome. Everyone that creates any kind of artwork, whether you're a musician or visuals, or even literature, I'm pretty sure that creative process resonates with you. Performance curve, the drone zone, calm, creative calm, ill health, panic, anxiety, breakdown and burnout from healthy tension. So this is all very relatable stuff. Okay. This is the creative process of game development. So you have the IP owner, creative director, game director, publisher, who sets the product goals, approves final product. Then you've got like production, sets timescales. These are like the producers and coordinators. You have the art director, instills a vision and sells it, sets the goals, including reviews the work, makes course corrections. Then we have the art lead, senior artist. Then it goes down to the artist. So this is like for like game development, slightly bigger game development. And it's a similar process, except this is the one for film. So you have the IP owner, vision, the studio financing, and the movie director. They're kind of like the IP ownership. Then you got production designer, then you got production, and you got the art director, and then straight to the artist. So this section's kind of still the same, except the IP owner is different between a movie and a game. Chapter 6, art in games and film. One of the big differences between art direction for games versus movies is that games usually take place in an immersive 3D world. That's correct, because once it's on the film, you shoot it, you print it, it's flat, it's locked. Whereas in a game, it's play agency, 360, everything. Good quote here. In some ways, designing for movies is easier. A fixed camera means we control exactly what the viewer is seeing. 100% true. Absolutely. Timescales and teams. It's a really good section here about typical timescale needed for a typical indie game, console game, 170 million movie. It really gives you a good visual breakdown of what the differences are, which I think is, that alone is worth getting the book just for that image right there. It's amazing. Designing for the right screen and platforms. Very cool. Designing for 3D versus 2D. It's really cool artwork here. Beautiful. This is great. You know, figuring out the pose of an action moment in a frame. It's very cool. Moving through the process. More beautiful artwork. Making sense of the world. So it's all about world building this moment here. It's great where you map it all out, like where the freeway is. Very much kind of like Grand Theft Auto. Very cool. In fact, this is very true. Even like the movie we're working on at the moment, you know, we map out the entire world so we can see where certain things take place. Now, the viewer, whether it's a movie or the game, may not even see this necessarily, but as a creator, it's very important to know where things are in the bigger world, in the bigger picture, which is very cool. Controlling composition, very important. Look at this. This is great. This is kind of the rough layout of what the composition would look like, and I can see it here. You can relate to it massively. Keep it simple first, and you go into it finally. This is great. Good way of communicating as well, very quickly. Very cool character design for Mortal Kombat. Concept development in film. Location designs. Very cool stuff. Wow, I love this. Look at the atmosphere in this, all the rain and everything. So cool. Designing movie assets. Look at the different versions of this. So cool. Look at all the different tones, color palettes. All to do with the same kind of asset, but different variations of that asset. Working with established IP, which is very important. Different covers of Guardians of the Galaxy comic book for references. It's very cool. The art. Yeah, there you go. The art and the target market. Some good quotes coming up now. Once the target market, user, and tech platform have been established, the artistic goals can begin to be defined. Very cool. And then, as an art director, it really helps to understand the types of people who will hopefully relate to your artistic vision. Another cool quote. Oh, nice. I love these charts. Understanding the user. Current day, future, believable, fantastical. And in the middle here is the grounded nature. So these sort of games that fit here between believable. Then you've got the future. Current, so believable and current day, kind of like war games. And then you've got fantastical and current day, which is kind of like horror games. Then you've got the future fantastical, which is all like sci-fi games. Very cool. Nice. This is a great way to also pitch to clients and stuff as well when you're pitching. More marketing promos. Very cool. Different demographic from teenagers to children. It's all about the artistic target. Another cool. Rendering stylization versus proportion stylization. Different games. Now this is all about exploring themes. The new versus familiar. Bringing theme and style together. Visual identity. What is the game is, what the game is not. This is great. This is a good way to like evaluate ideas. So like, you know, what is the game? Is it dark, dangerous, or is it bright and cartoon? Is it serious or humorous? Is it like graphic, brutal, gory, or is it slapstick cartoon violence? Is it hyper rendering, or is it toon shade? This is a fantastic way, kind of like a checklist of what your direction should be, and kind of like keeping it consistent when you're talking to your team. This is very cool. Visual identity, a very good checklist actually. Finding and communicating your style. More quotes here. Reference use enables the mind to work out what details fit into this vision and to flesh out the idea into something more real. An artist can paint a face in a week, a day, an hour, 30 seconds. Reference of an image that is of the expected quality leaves no doubt in the artist's mind. Beautiful. All about references. There we go. Style references. I mean, usually when I'm pitching on a project as well, or trying to create like a pitch deck for a project, I'm always looking for references. I'm always trying to organize my references to tone, to style, to genre, to character references, actor type. This is, again, it's all about the importance of references. Detailed references. Cool. I love spaceships. It's very cool. Industrial-like designs, which is very nice. Research, of course, there's always a lot of research involved. So research and communicating style. So, you know, this is another thing this book really kind of like instills, is the fact that there's a lot of research that usually goes in to the thought process, to the ideation process, and research is the big part of it. So as an artist, you got to be prepared to research a lot in order to hone down your design or your pitch. Some exploration of style, especially character design. Art style, what to do, or what not to do. Okay, cool. Too gamey, cartoony, human, zombie. Developing a style guide, that's a very important thing when you're in any project. Creating a style guide, especially when you have multiple artists that are working on it. You kind of want a consistency. You don't want an artist to bring their own style and someone else bring their own style. It's kind of what the art director's job is, to keep that style consistent throughout, and that's usually for a style guide. Making great artistic decisions. Ooh, more quotes. I get excited when I see a quote here. Okay, here goes. A career in art is a commitment to lifelong learning. I have no doubt that in the coming years, I'll be correcting some of my ideas in the book. That's very humble, man. That's awesome. Then you've got, the most successful art directors are the ones that absorb everything around them and who cultivate memories like a visual encyclopedia. Wow. Powerful. Dominance through size, contrast, and color. Elements of structure. Structural elements. Yeah, I can look on the rule of thirds here. Beautiful. Yeah, this is definitely a rule of thirds. Composition. Yeah, whenever we're blocking out shots in Unreal for our cinematics, we always have a guide up there just to make sure that, you know, we are within the rule of thirds. Visual flow, texture. Position and frame. This is what we're talking about, rule of thirds here, so it gives a really nice explanation what rule of thirds are. The golden ratio is a very common thing. There's a golden ratio right there. Also known as the divine proportion due to how it translates to the natural world. There we go. It's a very cool idea. So characters here, and then there's the overall world. Sometimes it's great, even as a director, to remind yourself about these certain ratios and rules, just to keep yourself in check. Intersecting lines and barriers. Superposition. This is cool. I love artwork like this. Like, this one frame tells an entire action scene without any more frames needed. Tonal values, tangents. This is cool. Look at that. So look at this. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 to make this image. Let's have a look. And 5. So number 1, which is here, this tree is aligning with the mountain ridge in the distance, spoiling the sense of depth. Number 2, the sun is too close to the mountain edge. Number 3, the riders align with the edge of the cliff behind. The tonal value is too hard to read. And this version here, the rock in the middle of the lake appears to be intersecting. Number 5, the contrast and the hard edge of reflection distracting. So with all of those notes in check, we then revise the image and you get this, which is a much more improved image. And now you can focus on the ride on the horse. The sun isn't like cropping into the mountains, the reflection isn't in your face. There you go. Amazing. Composition 3D space, shape language, 3 main shapes of character design. Ooh, this is good. See, I'm going to bring this closer. Here you go. Soft, friendly rolls with it. Sharp, dynamic, dangerous. Stable, strong, solid. Look at that. Oh my god. It's almost like the PlayStation buttons. So you start off with a round. Then you do this. Oh wow. This is so good. This is great references, man. I mean, you don't have to be like an amazing artist to know this stuff. It's really cool. Color wheel. All the various split complementary colors, warm colors. This is very cool. Yeah, this is. I mean, I live by this massively. Different art styles. Bring it all together. It's beautiful. Designing characters. Here we go. Some more quotes here. Okay. When starting out, it can help to work in a black and white, focus on attitude and silhouettes first. Oh, okay. If a character has a specific gameplay purpose, such as a specific move or power, think about how this can be integrated into the design. Nice. So I've got a really cool character checklist here. I like this. This is cool. So this is character checklist. Attitude, silhouette, color, materials, practicality, awesomeness. Okay, he made that one up. That's great. Love it. Design and a family of characters, attitude and silhouettes again. Attributes and purpose. Camera angles. This is what I'm all about. Camera angles in gameplay. That's very cool. First person, third person, that kind of thing. Designing worlds. Here we go. More quotes. Ooh, exciting. More quotes. Here we go. Cues in the environment can go a long way in suggesting the culture of the people living in it, meaning these elements of the story don't have to be explicitly explained. That's so true, man. If you look at Cyberpunk, there's a lot in that game environment that says a lot about the world without any need of exposition dialogue, right? And then you look at here. Just as in the real world, buildings and structures need to be rationally thought out. The more believable they are, the more realistic and tangible the world will seem. Very cool. Okay, paint overs are very important. We do a lot of this actually at HaZimation. So we'll get like a rough 3D block out, usually like in Unreal. Save it as a high resolution screenshot, and then we go in Photoshop or something, or Affinity now that I use Affinity, and we'll just paint on top of it. Or sometimes Sam, who's our art lead, will go in and paint on top of stuff just to get some ideas across. Paint overs are amazing. Definitely worth looking to doing paint overs. Very quick to do, good way to explore things. Gameplay, culture, architecture. This is great. The art of team direction. Okay, so a successful art director must understand and relate to what motivates each individual artist. So yeah, so that's all about the team management now. Successful leaders don't have just one style. They have a toolkit at their disposal. Very, very true. So there's a really good section here in the book now, which isn't so much about creativity, but it's all about managing people, being a leader, explaining how to deal with pressure in a team. This is gold stuff. This is stuff that I wish I had access to when I was starting out in my career. I had to learn the hard way. So for all the new youngins out there that are starting out, that eventually want to be a director, like this book is like the ultimate Bible to that, or the masterclass to that. Leadership styles, all the various, this is very cool, I like this. Different leadership styles. The leadership style here, the boss, do as I say, I am in charge. Overall impact is negative impact long term. Do you have Mr. Perfect trying to set a high standard, do as I know because I know I am the best? That's a very short term, long term negative impact. Coach, a more positive impact, however a less capable individual can get lost without clear instructions. Democrat, healer, and you get the visionary. The visionary is more like come with me, and then the outcome for that is a positive force for empowerment and should be the standard when all is working well. Obviously I'm going to stick to this part here, visionary, but I have to say sometimes I do fall into Mr. Perfect, so you know, as a director it is a very tricky job to try and navigate those personalities and, dare I say, egos. So yes, I always look at this to remind myself what's important whenever I'm under a lot of pressure and dealing with big teams. So yeah, very, very good. So I should print this out actually and put it on my wall. Top management tips. Very, very cool. Love this. Enjoy being creative. Say thank you. And I can't stress how important it's just to say, I mean, regardless whether you're in creative or even when you buy a cup of coffee, say thank you, right? I mean, it's not hard to say the two words thank you. Share information. Very important to always share. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this YouTube channel, because I wanted to share. Break down big goals. Empower your people. Very important. Just empower them, because you know, the more you empower them, the more cool stuff they're going to come up with, and the more fun the creative process is going to be. 80-20 rule. Focus most of the effort on the 20% of your work that yields 80% of the results. Nice. Give honest feedback. Remove obstruction. And remember, not everyone is the same. That's very true. Like, you know, when I'm dealing with actors, certain actors like to get creative freedom to come up with stuff, to ad-lib. And certain actors, like really amazing actors, just like not comfortable with ad-lib. They just kind of just be very specific what you want me to do, and I'll give you the most amazing performance. So not everyone's the same. So you've got to remember that. Not every artist is the same as well. So giving feedback, annotations, refining detail. Down a bit. This is cool. Feedback methods, which is a very cool thing. Various feedback methods. So either drawing on it or just creating numbers and then writing on the side what the notes are. So I use something called Sync Sketch, which is a very cool tool for giving annotation, and we use it a lot in our current production. So a lot of this I tend to like just get the artist upload on Sync Sketch, and then I annotate and give my notes. Paint overs, again, we talked about paint overs. Like, this is what the capture of the game is, and then you paint over what you want the intention to look like. It's very, very cool. Very good way to direct as well. Working with other creative decision makers. So this is another good quotes here. As an art director, you need to work with others to understand the need for the art. The relationship with these clients will make or break the project. Very, very true. Then they go talk about different client types, which is very cool. And what does it take to become an art director? Important. So there's some more quotes here. Being exceptionally talented is not always the most important trait. Being able to read the needs of the end user and then craft and communicate a vision is the core of the role. The best art directors are not only curious about people, but are also fascinated by the world around them. Very cool quotes. Some interviews with existing art directors out there, like Paul Jones. More art directors. Marcus is the marketing art director. Yeah, this is great. I like how it's not just about Ron, but it's also he goes and takes other people, other art directors out there, and gives them a little one page as well. Give them a chance to give them their thoughts, to share their thoughts, sorry, and a little history about them. So it's very cool. I mean, this is a good example where, you know, he's all about collaboration. He's all about removing the ego and bringing other art directors in this book. You know, even though this is a book about his style and his career, he's brought in other people that he's respected, colleagues or peers in the industry, to give their take on what art direction is. I love that. Nice. And then a suggested reading. So that's it, guys. This is the book, and I have to say, this is a very, oh look, this is great. This is a glossary as well for like certain terms, like what rule of thirds are, what a cell sheet is, what tangents are. featured artists in here. I mean, I've said this from the start. I've said this in the intro. This is a Bible for directors, not just art directors, but directors. Anyone in directorship, in creative, should have this book. So yeah, definitely go get this book. Have it at your desk. This is golden material. This is a masterclass. This is the Bible. And that's all we've got time for, I'm afraid, today. But hey, if you love the content and you love the book reviews we're doing, then please do hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it if you do. It inspires us to make more of this content for you. Most importantly, let us know what you think in the comments below. Tell us what you thought about the review. If you guys have read the book as well, let us know your thoughts about the book, positive or negative. Love to hear it. And also any book recommendations you guys have on a similar topic of the book that I've covered today, please drop it all in the comments below. Love to hear from you. In the meantime, stay safe and see you in the next video.